Bob is back with Bob Iger returning to Disney. It got me thinking of how much I'd love to see a movie adaptation of the James B. Stewart book Disney Wars. For those of you who may not have been deep in the Disney nerd trenches, Disney Wars is a book by James B. Stewart. It's an almost Shakespearean tale of the corporate intrigue that occurred at Disney during the 90s. A movie like this would probably never happen because it would annoy too many powerful people, but it doesn't stop me from trying to imagine my dream cast. Fantasy football for Disney nerds. In the role of hero turned villain, former CEO Michael Eisner. We need somebody who is capable of pitting people against each other in a dogfighting school of management. For this role, I would pick Walter Goggins. His work on Justified and Hateful Eight showed that he could embody that mix of officiousness and maniacal intensity that would be required to play somebody like Eisner. Eisner's steady, calm, dependable sidekick, Frank Wells, who perished in a tragic plane accident, could be played by Rich Sommer. The steady and even Mad Men alum could embody the waspy competence that Frank Wells was known for. Jeffrey Katzenberg has had it pretty rough lately with the epic failure of his billion-dollar Quibi video platform. But in the late 80s and early 90s, Katzenberg was producing a streak of classic movies that comprised the Disney Renaissance era. To portray Katzenberg, who went to war with Eisner and lost, Zeljko Ivanek, from House of Cards and Madame Secretary and about a million other things, could portray the vehemence of this Diet Coke chugging executive. He looks similar and he could portray the intensity that Katzenberg is known for. Roy E. Disney, the Nepo nephew of Walt, helped take on Eisner and bring him down, with his main creative contribution being a sequel to Fantasia that nobody wanted. It would be fitting for this Walt lookalike and trust funder to be played by the great Steve Buscemi. Before getting to Bob Iger, I think we should cast a small but important cameo in this story. Bob Iger built a meaningful relationship with Steve Jobs in the last few years of Steve's life, which helped Disney buy Pixar and allowed Steve Jobs to join the board of Disney. Michael Stuhlbarg would have the soulful intensity that a later life Steve Jobs role would require. Which brings us to Bob Iger. I found this role harder to cast than I would have guessed. There's an intensity and quiet Midwestern likability to Iger, but obviously he's got a lot going on underneath the surface. So I think Malfoy's dad, Jason Isaacs, in a really uncharacteristically non-villainous role. He looks enough like Bob Iger, and if you check out his Twitter and his charity work, you can see that he has this kind directness that I think is very Bob Iger-like. He could really pull it off. Finally, as a bonus, I think we should cast Bob Chapek in an updated version of the Disney Wars. This was an easy one because I think Dean Norris from Breaking Bad was born to play the bridge-burning, feather-ruffling Bob Paycheck. Let me know why I'm wrong and who you would cast instead below. Thanks for watching.